So I wanted to start with your beginning into geek culture and comics. What was your
Oh,
first
well,
foray?
um, a long time ago. I guess where I came in, funny enough that I'm wearing this shirt, I was a big Aliens fan as a child. And at some point, maybe like third or fourth grade, I finally got to see the movies. I had sort of known them tangentially from video games that I would see in the local arcade. Saw the movies, devoured like the first two, I think, which because I think the third one wasn't out yet. Um, and was sort of like just became obsessed with these creatures in this universe. And then I remember like clear as day, fourth grade, a friend of mine, I think it was Simon Morris, if he's out there, to give him credit, um, came in and he's like, "Hey, look at these!" And he suddenly had these comic books, and one was Alien vs Predator #3, and one was Alien Colonial Marines #1, and it just was mind blowing. I remember looking at it, and I had known comics to a degree, but the idea that these stories were continuing somewhere, and that there was a comic book shop in my hometown that I didn't know about, and it just like it was like this door opened, and all of a sudden there were all these stories and this world that I didn't know about that I clearly belonged in, and it's gone from there. I mean, I got really into comics for a long time. It took a little bit longer to get into superhero comics. It was mostly sci-fi and horror for me, but the older I got, I would step away a little bit and then always come back. I remember I kind of drifted away a little bit in college. Got really busy with just theater and the every now and then when you move to a new location, they don't have the exact shop that you want. But I got back into Preacher shortly after college, and that kind of blew my mind in ways. And then Walking Dead, and after that it was like Marvel Civil War, and eventually Saga, and it's just luckily at one point, I would think 2007, 2008, I had a friend who kind of pushed me to take a screenplay we were working on and use some of my art skills to pencil an issue of the comic, and that was sort of the first step into creating. I had written before, I had acted before, but drawing was just my thing for fun. And then once we started doing that, again, it was like going into a world where I was like, oh, I've always needed to be here. And you just have that sense of like, oh, okay, this is my place. These are my people. you know.
That's so cool. Well, one thing that really stands out to me is how you were a third or fourth grader and you were into aliens, because I feel like that is adult stuff. Like to being
Yeah,
so
my
young.
teachers were worried.
And like your parents were like were you sneaking off
You
and
know
doing
what?
it,
They
or were
were
you?
they were okay with it because I guess I had always been into things with sharp teeth. I was into dinosaurs and then sharks and various monsters, and I think they thought I was fairly mature for my age, and my mom watched. I think that we started with the second movie because they thought it was a little less scary,
Yeah.
But they were okay with it. They knew they could kind of trust me to, not like, I don't know, just like be like, hey kids, look at this brain coming out or something, or this guy getting his head bit off. But I will say there was probably a few like moments where they were like, I hope Brian's gonna be all right. That all he talks about is aliens, and I do remember a specific teacher who wrote something to me at one point for a writing assignment. Because anytime it was creative writing, I was like aliens. They were like, there are other things besides aliens, Brian.
No, there's not.
Do you want to create your own aliens? No, I like these ones.
Yeah, these are the ones, they pop out of people.
Yeah. So I guess I have like many people, both I would say in the comic creator field and the comic fan field. I had an obsessive personality when it came to these things, and I think there's something about the people you meet or attend with at a Comic Con or lock yourself up in like whether it's together or in separate rooms and work on a comic for months at a time, if not longer. There's something about that like need, and you see other people find it in other avenues of life. Like the sports athlete who just always needs to practice, always wants to go back and try to beat their best, or just loves being at the game and will go see any baseball game just because they love the sport so much. I think there's something in people when they find that thing that really means
Drives
something
them.
to them.
It's passion. It's that amount of focus and that amount of energy. It's like just dissecting it. How do they do it? Why are they successful? Why are they doing it this way? Maybe I should try it that way. Oh no, that's why they're doing it this way. And so it's the understanding. It's the study of how things work.
Very much, and I think obviously we both have a taste for it, and we see a lot of people who share that, and there's a community in that. As much as there can be a competition, I think there's a community, and that's what I like about this world of comics and geekdom is I've found a great community here. There is always going to be some people that are there to cause trouble, obviously, or have a more negative point of view. But I do really see it as something really valuable that those who love can foster and make even better going forward.
Absolutely. One thing that's kind of always stood out to me is a friend of mine told me when people think of movies, people don't think of things in moving pictures. They think of things in still images, which is exactly comics.
Mm-hmm.
So comics is a way to make a real impact and really focus on moments, just like you're saying.
Well, in comics, it's been really interesting. They speak to that person that we're talking about too, where the general public goes to every movie. It's more accessible, and things are changing. But I think there's that person who's like, oh, I want the story to continue, and they have to go get the book or the comic. And the comics have always been a resource. It's not that there can't be original comics, but they've always been a resource for that fan who can't get enough. There's always another story to be told in the pages of comics.
Alien versus Predator number 3 waiting for them.
Heck, there's aliens versus Superman. There's aliens versus everything at this point.
I love it.